Alright, so we have ThisIsJimmy spawning as the purple. I kind of screwed up the colors, but you guys can figure that all out on your own. There we go, it's fixed. Now this is Jimmy, the Terran player, spawning purple in the, we'll go 6 o'clock, up against nYqGemini, spawning up at the 12 o'clock. No, Skim, I think the chat's working just fine. Looks like we are on MLG Shattered Temple. We've got the destructible supply depots, and that would probably mean the players couldn't spawn in the close positions, so let's see if they know that when they go about scouting. Looks like Gemini sending out his scout first. Is that headed? Looks like it's headed up in the correct direction. It's a little bit of an early scout, but nothing too absurd. Two players discussing the fact this is still best of one, so they can count. This is Jimmy going for the wall in at the ramp. Not typically seen in the PvT matchup, but not terribly bad either. Be interesting if he actually does a full wall in, which it looks like he will be doing. Slightly back. Actually, it looks like he can get a second barracks here as well as an add-on, so that would be interesting to see what happens. nYqGemini starting at the back of his base with his building placement. This would be good against any sort of Hellion play, but I'd probably want to see it started on this side to stop from Hellions, not this side, but it probably won't matter by the time that comes out. Looks like this probe tried to, it didn't land any hits on that SCV, but it looks like Jimmy's just going to send the SCV out to chase this down, not let it get up any hidden pylons or anything of the sort. First gas key did come down from Gemini at a fairly standard time, and from Jimmy. Nothing out of the ordinary yet from either player, and we have a tech lab coming out first for Jimmy. Kind of interesting, this could be a Reaper if he has enough gas. It looks like he'll have enough gas for a Reaper by the time this finishes. And the probe will see that that tech lab has gone down. Gemini stealing one of the gas geysers. That'll be interesting if he cancels or leaves this up. And yeah, he left that up. Cybercore now gone down for Gemini, who has this entire area now walled in back here, which could be quite useful if Jimmy goes for any sort of Hellion play. We have a Reaper now coming out, half done for Jimmy. Nothing being done to this gas geyser. There probably won't be for some time, since Jimmy has no Marines coming out and no extra production building, so it looks like this is going to be a one-rack expand out of Jimmy. Checking for any pylons. SCV gets in and sees what's going on in the base of Gemini. Almost picked off, but it gets out. Where did the Reaper go? Reaper went off to the side again, just checking for pylons. Nice move. But there's no shenanigans coming down out of Gemini. Warp gated in normal time, not being chrono boosted out. We have the Stalker now, so it might be difficult to do any damage with this Reaper play, as there's a pylon here. They'll see the Reaper probably coming in, and the units are pulled back nicely to catch anything of the sort. It looks like there's going to be an expansion from Gemini, while the one for Jimmy is about half done. So these will be done about the same time. Another barracks coming down, 2 more barracks for Jimmy, as well as a bunker in the front, but as you can see, there's going to be no crazy pressure coming out of Gemini, who only has a single gateway at this time, and a robo now starting off only 1 gas and a second gateway. It's like just going to be a bunch of Marines coming out for Jimmy at this point, who should be able to hold this off, possibly having to repair, but he'll have about 5 or 6 Marines by the time this gets close. This looks actually like this might be a tight wall-in. Maybe something could fit through here, but I'm not entirely sure. And the Reaper has scouted the expansion from Gemini, and it looks like that's going to actually cue Jimmy to move up a bit, pushing out with the Marine and dropping this bunker. Another gateway has gone down for Gemini, and as there no observer yet coming down for Gemini, there it is. And there's the probe transfer now. This gas geyser finally being whittled down by Jimmy. And the command center being floated over as well. Factory almost half done now for ThisIsJimmy. And it looks like he also has his engineering bay about half done as well. Neither of these buildings look to be in range of the gas geyser, which is a smart move on Jimmy's part. If we check the vision, yeah, Jimmy can see. Gemini can see neither of those structures going down, so what Jimmy's up to is completely in dark to him. Stim about to finish, as well as +1 weapons now started. Warp gate finishing up for Gemini, getting out a couple of units pretty quickly, to 3 gates. Still more extra tech and taking a 3rd geyser, and it looks like Jimmy's taking 1 and 2 more gas, as well as a starport about half done now, and it looks like he's going to be putting out missile turrets in at least his main. This will mostly be up against any sort of DTs with this positioning. If he wanted to stop Phoenixes, he would need them over here and here, but he probably only fears DTs at this point. But since that's not where Gemini is going, in fact getting out an Immortal and the Robotic Support Bay, I do like this sim coming out of Gemini. No Hellions would not be able to get through here. And it looks like Gemini is at least gearing up to take a 3rd base at this point, as well as getting on the Colossi tech. And if we look at Jimmy getting a reactor out now and doing some swapping around on this starport to get out, probably we're going to see some medevacs. Observers seeing this will not know what's coming out exactly, but might have some idea. Jimmy sneaking out did quite a bit of damage to that observer, but it does manage to get out. Jimmy's scouting with the Overlord. If we look at its path, it is going all the way up to the 3rd. Now, if Gemini doesn't take this very soon, Jimmy could make some aliens up there. That would be kind of interesting to see. And if we look at the supply count, Gemini is slightly up. Jimmy with quite a few extra missile turrets that he did not need. And the first 2 medevacs are now out for Jimmy, and it looks like one of them is going for a drop with 2 Marauders, 4 Marines. And we might see this sim coming in here either being helpful or seeing if it's unhelpful. This wall here could prove problematic to get units by, especially the Colossus, as the Lance is only about half done right now. And it's not being chrono boosted, but there is a 2nd Colossi coming out. And here comes his drop. Will be interesting to see what this does. And Vikings now coming out for ThisIsJimmy, as well as a bunch more barracks. Drop gearing up. Let's see how much damage this can actually get done. And he just attack moves in, hitting a pylon. If he picks up this pylon, he could down power this gate. Oh no, this gateway is covered well. That just misses. Wow, that is surprising. This pylon just misses this gateway. That's quite surprising. I thought it would have had it. Thermal Lance is now finished though, as well as a 2nd Colossi is about to come out. No, 2nd Colossi isn't out yet. And ThisIsJimmy blocking 3rd for Gemini. Which, oh, there's the 2nd Colossi. Okay, and it looks like he's supply blocked now. The pylons, 3 pylons taken out. And Gemini has to risk going back here to take down this factory if he wants to take his 3rd. While Jimmy could just use that at any time to, Reaper will go down. Pylon was snuck in over here. These 2 stalkers should be able to take this down with quite a bit of ease. Except if this medevac drop can get over there quickly enough, it could end up dealing with these 2 stalkers. And at least slightly moving the Protoss army out of position. ThisIsJimmy taking down the destructible rocks and probably gearing up to take a 3rd, but hasn't started the command center yet. And we have 2 forges coming down for Gemini, who's starting on his upgrades a little bit late. So he is going to have to play catch up by using Chrono Boost and going with twice the upgrade speed. If we look, ThisIsJimmy only +1. Hasn't gotten out an armory yet, so he can't go for 2-2. And he hasn't started 1 armory yet either. ThisIsJimmy mostly making Marauders at this point. If we look, he's got about 17 Marauders, and quite a bit of Vikings, up to 9 now. And if we take a look, his Marine count's up to about 17 as well, so this could be a hugely damaging push to punish the bronze player for taking their third, while Jimmy takes the gold third, which will put him quite a bit ahead. 3 Colossi now out, 4 Colossi out for Gemini, and it looks like a 5th will be here by the time this push connects. So will there be enough Vikings out for Jimmy to deal with this Colossi number? And it looks like Gemini's actually going to push out, so this 5th Colossi will not be a factor in this battle. 1 Colossi down, 2 Colossi down. Oh, just 1 Colossi. 1 Colossi is very close to going down. And it looks like these Colossi are falling very quickly, doing a lot of damage. Jimmy's going to be taking a lot of damage in these well-placed force fields, but it looks like there will not be enough out for Gemini. 1 Colossi in the back here. How will Gemini look to survive this? The Colossi falls, doing no damage at all. It looks like ThisIsJimmy's Marauder heavy army will be enough to run over Gemini. That is good game.